Please be seated. 請各位就座。Respect Dharma Masters, brothers and sisters in Dharma, friends and ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh in Hong Kong 2010. Happiness is here and now public talk. 各位尊敬嘅出家法師，各位朋友，歡迎嚟到一行禪師喜悅之旅2010幸福是此時此地公開講座。現在我哋邀請一行禪師喜悅之旅2010籌備委員會主席李卓芬教授致歡迎辭。Ladies and gentlemen, may I call upon Professor C.F. Lee, Chairman, the Organizing Committee of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh in Hong Kong 2010 to say a few words. Professor Lee, please.
The most venerable Thai, members of the Plum Village Shankar, venerables, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you all. Kawai Manon. I hope you would agree with me that as the theme of Thai's visit this time in Hong Kong, happiness is here and now, most aptly describe this very moment for all of us here. I say this because out of his great compassion, the Zen Master, who is already 84 years of age and who normally resides in the quiet countryside of France, has traveled halfway around the globe to be here with us to share his teaching of joy and peace. His caring love for our community, for our population of Hong Kong, is in itself a source of happiness for all of us here tonight. Speaking for myself and my colleagues of the Center of Buddhist Study, the University of Hong Kong, we have extra cause for happiness because a series of Thai's events in Hong Kong also preludes the centenary of the university in 2011. Since its establishment, the university has seen 100 years of change in its development, but something has remained unchanged. And that is the university's vision to contribute to the advancement of society and the nurturing of wisdom and virtue in the individual. To that end, we have come to also recognize the importance of inner well-being as a basis for personal growth of our future leaders. As an international education institution, the University of Hong Kong does not only pursue academic excellence, it also cares about people and the community. And it is upon this common ground that the university has made this wonderful connection with the mindfulness practice taught by Thai. In the past 10 years or so, Thai has already conducted a day of mindfulness for some 200 local medical professionals, a 5-day retreat for the local community with around 1,500 participants. Besides, Thai's work of calligraphy on mindfulness art are on exhibition at the University Museum of Art and Gallery until January next year. Although tonight's talk marks the concluding note of Thai's visit to Hong Kong, it nevertheless ushers a series of celebratory events for the Hong Kong US Centenary, which I welcome you all to join and share with us in the year to come. For now, let's get back to the present moment, as I'm sure this evening will be the most memorable one for all of us. Thank you very much. 預祝大家今晚有一個心靈喜悅之旅，發喜充滿，每一個當下都幸福快樂。Happiness is here and now, each and every moment. Once again, our heartfelt thanks to our dear Thai. 感恩禪師，多謝大家，多謝。
Thank you, Professor Lee. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to put your hands together and welcome Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh and his monastic Sangha from Plum Village.
Thank you so much for your love, your welcome, and your hospitality. We will continue the evening with the chanting offered by monastics.
Testing. 歡迎大家嚟到今晚嘅開始。今晚我哋會以一個唱誦作為今晚講座嘅開始。
The practice of mindful chanting will help us to touch the suffering in us and touch the suffering in the world in such a way that can allow compassion to arise.
正念嘅唱誦幫助我哋接觸自己，亦都接觸呢一個世界，讓慈悲能夠生起。
Mindful chanting is one of the ways of practice that can help us to get in touch and to listen to the suffering inside of us and in the world.
正念唱誦係一個非常之好嘅練習，能夠幫助我哋接觸到自己內在同埋呢個世界嘅痛苦。
The suffering inside of every one of us carry within itself the suffering of our country, of our society, of the planet. And that is why when we get in touch with the suffering inside of us, we get also in touch with the suffering of the world.
我哋心中嘅痛苦包括咗國家、社會同埋呢個世界嘅痛苦，因此當我哋接觸到自己心中嘅痛苦嘅時候，我哋同時亦都係接觸到呢個世界環境。
In Buddhism, there is one person who is known to be an excellent practitioner of deep listening. That is the Bodhisattva Avalokita.
喺佛教入邊有一位菩薩，佢收集慈悲聆聽，佢就係觀世音菩薩。
By listening deeply to her own suffering and the suffering of the world, she was able to transcend all ill being and was able to help the world.
通過聆聽自己心中嘅痛苦同埋呢個世界嘅痛苦，佢能夠超越一切苦，能夠幫助呢一個世界。
The monastics here will chant the name of Guan Yin tonight, in such a way that can help themselves and help us to get in touch with our own suffering and the suffering in the world, so that understanding can arise and compassion be born from the practice.
今日僧團將會為大家念誦觀世音菩薩嘅名號。我哋通過呢個唱誦，能夠讓大家接觸到心中嘅苦，亦都係接觸到呢個世界嘅苦，讓了解同埋慈悲能夠生起。
The practice of chanting and listening can be very healing and transformative.
唱誦同埋聆聽係非常之治療同埋滋養。
If we allow the collective energy of the Sangha to penetrate in our body, that energy will help release the tension in our body and reduce the amount of pain we have in our body after a few minutes of listening.
如果我哋讓僧團集體嘅能量滲透我哋能夠讓自己身體嘅緊張放鬆，亦都能夠減輕身體嘅痛楚。
We don't have to do anything at all. We just allow ourselves to be fully present in the here and the now and relax, so that the collective energy of the Sangha could penetrate and embrace the pain and help release the tension and the pain in our body.
我哋唔需要做啲乜嘢，我哋只係放鬆，讓僧團嘅能量擁抱我哋放鬆我哋嘅身體。
And if we have some sorrow, some grief, some despair in our heart, we may allow our heart to be opened, so that the energy of the Sangha could penetrate and get in touch with that. And if we know how to open our heart for the collective energy of the Sangha to penetrate, we will get a relief. We will suffer less after a few moments of listening.
如果我哋心中有一啲悲傷或者失落嘅話，我哋打開我哋嘅心，讓僧團集體嘅能量滲透你。經過幾分鐘嘅聆聽之後，你已經能夠減輕釋放你心中嘅痛楚同埋痛苦。
If you have someone in the family who is sick, who suffer tonight, who could not come to the evening, we may also send this wholesome energy to him or to her, to help him or her get better, just by calling his or her name silently, or think of that person, and this collective energy generated by the practice of chanting and listening will be channeled to that person right in this present moment.
如果你有家人或者朋友，佢心中正有痛苦，但係佢今晚未能夠嚟到呢一個晚上，等一陣僧團唱誦嘅時候，你可以喺心入邊叫住佢嘅名，或者諗起佢。如此，我哋可以用僧團嘅能量送到去佢哋。
The Sangha is invited to go back to our breathing, so that the collective energy of mindfulness can bring us together as an organism, going as a river, with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, chant as one body, listen as one body, transcending the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating ourselves from the superiority complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex.
請僧團嘅各位同修回到呼吸上，讓集體嘅正念能量將我們融合為一體，如河流一樣流動，毫無隔膜。讓整個僧團呼吸如一體， 唱頌如一體，傾聽如一體，超越假我嘅界限同埋分別心，從優越感、自卑感同埋同等感中得到解脫。
Dear friends, there are those of us who have the capacity to be happy. They know how to recognize a moment of joy and happiness.
各位朋友，喺我哋當中有一啲人，佢哋識得去感受快樂，佢哋懂得去覺察喺生命中快樂嘅時刻。
And they know how to create or generate a feeling of joy or happiness.
佢哋懂得製造喜樂嘅感覺。
Those of us who want to have that capacity to be happy, we can learn from the Buddha.
如果我哋想懂得感到快樂嘅話，我哋可以向佛陀學習。
I myself have learned the art of being happy from the Buddha, and I would like to share with you some of my practices.
我從佛陀之中學到快樂嘅藝術，今日想同大家分享一啲我嘅經驗。
In the Sutra on Mindful Breathing, and the Buddha proposed many exercises that can help us generate a feeling of joy, a feeling of happiness.
喺安波手義經入邊，佛陀教導我哋一啲練習，幫助我哋去製造同埋培養幸福快樂嘅感覺。
And since he knows that happiness and suffering, between the two there is a deep connection. That is why he also advised us to practice in order to recognize and embrace a painful feeling or a painful emotion in us.
佛陀知道幸福同埋痛苦兩者嘅關係非常之密切，因此佛陀教導我哋去覺察我哋嘅痛苦。
It is possible to be happy in the here and the now.
喺呢一刻感到幸福快樂係可能嘅。
If there is still some suffering in us and in the world.
儘管我哋心中仍然有少許嘅痛苦。
The Buddha gave the teaching on living happily in the present moment to several times. And one day he addressed a group of 500 business men, and he confirmed that it is possible to be happy and joyful right in the here and the now.
佛陀曾經幾次教導幸福安住於當下嘅教導。有一次，佛陀向500位商人開示，再一次講解幸福可以喺此時此刻。
The Buddha knew very well that these businessmen, they think a little bit too much about the future, about their success. They do not have enough time to take care of themselves and their beloved ones.
佛陀知道呢啲做生意嘅人，佢哋非常之忙，佢哋經常想住未來，想要成功，佢哋冇時間去照顧佢哋自己。
So the teaching that day was to help the businessmen to go back to the present moment and recognize all the conditions of happiness that are already there, so that they can be happy right here and right now, and do not have to go and look for them in the future.
因此喺嗰一日，佛陀教導佢哋回到當下一刻，覺知道喺當下呢一刻，佢哋擁有好多幸福嘅條件，佢哋唔需要跑到未來先至可以揾到幸福。
Happiness is an art of practice, and if we practice for a few hours, we can already make some progress and be happier right away.
幸福係一種修習，我哋只需要修習幾個鐘頭，我哋已經可以有進步，已經可以感到幸福。
Happiness, as it is understood here, is not made of fame, power, profit, or sex.
我哋喺呢度指嘅幸福並唔係指財富、名利或者性。
Because we know that around us there are those who have plenty of these things, they are not truly happy.
因為我哋知道喺我哋周圍有好多人擁有呢一啲嘢，但係佢哋並唔感到幸福。
Many of them even suffer very deeply.
甚至有啲人佢哋非常之痛苦。
The happiness that the Buddha talk about can be generated by three kinds of energies, namely mindfulness, concentration, and insight.
佛陀所講嘅幸福可以用3種能量嚟到製造，呢3種能量就係念、定、慧。
Mindfulness is the kind of energy that you can generate by the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking, mindful doing things.
正念嘅能量可以從正念呼吸、正念步行或者正念咁樣去做每一件事而培養到。
When you drink a cup of tea, and if you know that you are drinking a cup of tea, you are aware of the fact that you are drinking a cup of tea, that is mindfulness of drinking.
當你飲一杯茶，而你用正念覺知道你正在飲緊一杯茶，呢一個就叫做正念飲茶。
When you breathe in, and if you know, if you are aware that you are breathing in, and that is mindfulness of breathing.
當你吸氣嘅時候，你知道你正在吸氣，呢一個就係正念呼吸。
When you walk, and you know that you are walking, that is mindfulness of walking.
當你步行嘅時候，你知道你正在步行，呢個就係正念步行。
And when you cook, and you know that you are cooking, that is mindfulness of cooking.
當你煮食嘅時候，你知道你正在煮食，呢個就係正念煮食。
When love arises in you, and if you are aware of that, that is mindfulness of love.
當愛喺你心中生起，而你覺察到嘅話，呢個就係正念嘅愛。
And when anger arises in you, and if you are aware of that, it's called mindfulness of anger.
當憤怒喺你心中生起，而你能夠覺察到，呢個就係對憤怒嘅正念。
So mindfulness is always mindfulness of something.
正念總係對某一啲嘢嘅正念。
And everyone can generate the energy of mindfulness and improve the quality of his or her life.
每一個人都可以培養到正念嘅能量，去改善佢生活嘅質素。
Mindfulness is a kind of energy that can be generated by any one of us.
我哋每一個人都能夠培養到正念嘅能量。
When I rub my hands together for 1 minute, I can generate heat, and I can help calm down the pain in my body.
當我擦手1分鐘嘅時候，我可以製造到熱量，我可以用呢一個熱量嚟減輕身體嘅痛楚。
Mindfulness is the kind of energy that you can generate by the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking, and other practices as well.
正念嘅能量可以通過正念呼吸、正念步行或者其他嘅修習培養到。
And the energy of mindfulness help you to be established in the present moment, in the here and the now.
正念幫助你安住於當下，安住於此時此地。
Suppose you are breathing in, and if you focus your attention on your in breath, and then in just 4 or 5 seconds, you bring your mind back to your body, and there you are established in the here and the now.
當你吸氣嘅時候，你覺知到你正在吸氣，只需要幾秒鐘，你就能夠將心帶回身體，安住於當下一刻。
And it is in the here and the now that you can get in touch with life, with the wonders of life.
只有喺當下呢一刻，你先至可以接觸到生命，接觸到生命嘅種種美妙。
In our daily life, very often we are in a situation of distraction. Our body may be there, but our mind may be elsewhere.
喺我哋嘅生活當中，好多時我哋嘅心喺一個地方，而身體喺一個地方。
Our mind might be got in the sorrow or regret concerning the past, or the fear or uncertainty concerning the future.
我哋嘅心可能被對於過去嘅悲傷同埋愧疚，或者對於未來嘅擔憂恐懼所困。
Our mind might be caught in our projects, in our worries, in our anger.
我哋嘅心亦都可能被我哋嘅工作計劃或者我哋嘅憤怒所困。
And our mind is not with our body.
我哋嘅心並唔係同我哋嘅身體一齊。
So when you practice breathing in mindfully or making a step in mindfulness, you bring your mind back to your body and you can establish yourself in the here and the now again.
當你正念呼吸或者正念步行嘅時候，你可以將心帶回身體，安住於當下。
It needs only a few seconds in order to make one in-breath or make one step. And mindfulness generated by that in-breath or step can bring your mind back to your body so that you can be there and live that moment much more deeply.
只需要幾秒鐘嘅吸氣，或者幾秒鐘行一步，就已經可以將心帶回身體，讓我哋能夠安住於當下，深刻咁樣過當下呢一刻。
There are refreshing, healing, nourishing things that are available in the present moment. And if you can get in touch with them, you can get the nourishment that you need.
喺當下呢一刻，有好多滋養、清新同埋美妙嘅元素。如果我哋能夠接觸到，我哋就可以喺當下得到滋養。
So the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking can be very nourishing and healing.
因此，正念呼吸同埋正念步行嘅練習係非常之滋養同埋治療。
The practice of mindful breathing and mindful walking can help you to get in touch with the kingdom of God or with the pure land of the Buddha that are already in the here and the now.
正念呼吸同埋正念步行能夠幫助你接觸喺當下呢一刻已經存在嘅天國或者淨土。
To me, that beautiful flower, it belongs to the pure land. It belongs to the kingdom of God.
一朵美麗嘅花，佢屬於天國，屬於淨土。
And if you get in touch with deeply with that beautiful flower, you get in touch with the pure land, the kingdom of God that is available.
如果你能夠接觸到呢一朵美麗嘅花，你就能夠接觸到天國，接觸到當下嘅淨土。
And when our mind is home to our body in the present moment, we have an opportunity to recognize the many conditions of happiness that we already have.
當我哋嘅心回到我哋身體呢一個家嘅時候，我哋就能夠覺察到喺當下呢一刻，我哋所擁有幸福快樂嘅條件。
They may be more than enough for you to be happy, and you know that you don't have to run anymore into the future and looking for some more conditions of happiness.
我哋有多於足夠嘅條件去感到幸福快樂。我哋並唔需要跑到未來去尋找更多嘅條件。
The next power of mindfulness is that when you are already there in the here and the now, you have an opportunity to take care of what is not going well in yourself and around you.
當我哋有正念，能夠活在當下呢一刻嘅時候，我哋就能夠照顧到我哋心入邊同埋呢個世界上邊嘅痛苦。
Mindfulness helps you to recognize a painful feeling in you and a painful emotion in you, so that you can embrace that pain in order to get a relief.
正念嘅能量能夠幫助你覺察到你痛苦嘅感受或者情緒。幫你能夠擁抱呢個痛苦嘅感受同埋情緒。
And if we practice mindfulness for some time, our concentration will be more powerful. And with mindfulness and concentration, we can go further and we can transform our pain, our sorrow, our despair.
當我哋嘅正念嘅收集做咗一段時間之後，我哋嘅定，即係我哋嘅專注會更加強。當我哋有正念同埋專注嘅時候，我哋可以更進一步去轉化心中嘅痛苦。
When you are very mindful of something, you tend to be concentrated on that something.
當你對某一啲嘢保持正念嘅時候，即係話你專注於嗰樣嘢。
And because you have concentration, you may get an insight, an understanding, a deeper understanding of what is there.
因為你有專注，因此你能夠得到智慧或者更深刻嘅了解。
In the Buddhist teaching, we know that the energy of mindfulness carries within herself the energy of concentration and insight.
喺佛教嘅修習入邊，我哋知道正念能夠帶嚟正定、專注同埋智慧。
Insight, awakening, or enlightenment can be the problem of here and now.
智慧同埋覺醒可以係喺當下呢一刻。
With mindfulness, we can make awakening, enlightenment possible right in this present moment.
如果我哋有正念嘅話，喺當下呢一刻，我哋就能夠覺醒。
Suppose you breathe in mindfully and you focus all your attention on your in-breath. You recognize the fact. You get in touch with the reality that you are alive.
當你收集正念呼吸，你安住於當下呢一刻，你會發覺你係真正活着。
A person who is already dead cannot breathe in anymore.
一個已經死咗嘅人，佢唔再能夠吸氣。
And since you are breathing in and you know you are breathing in, the insight that you are alive come to you. So that insight is already enlightenment.
當你正念呼吸嘅時候，你知道你正在活着，你知道呢一個智慧生起。
To me, to be alive is a miracle, and it is the greatest of all miracles.
活着係一個奇蹟，係最大嘅奇蹟。
So breathing in, you may touch the miracle of being alive, and when you breathe out, your out breath may be a celebration of life.
吸氣，你接觸到呢一個奇蹟；呼氣，你慶祝生命。
So just breathing in and out can already generate the energy of joy and happiness.
因此，只係正念呼吸就能夠幫我哋生起快樂同埋幸福嘅感覺。
When you make a step in mindfulness, you touch life in the here and the now with all the wonders.
當你用正念去行一步，你接觸到喺生命之中美好嘅事物。
Mindful walking means to walk in such a way that you can go back to the here and the now with every step so that you can touch all the wonders of life that are available in the moment.
正念步行嘅意思即係話，我哋每一步都讓我哋自己翻嚟當下呢一刻，接觸到生命中美妙嘅事物。
Since you focus your attention on the step you make, since you are mindful of that step that you make, you release the past, you release the future, you go back to the here and the now, and you get in touch with life and all the wonders of life.
因為你專注於你嘅步伐，因此你放下過去，放下未來，翻到當下呢一刻，接觸到當下呢一刻嘅美妙。
There is a habit, energy in us, the habit of running. We tend to run into the future because we believe that happiness is not possible in the present moment.
我哋有一個習慣，就係要奔跑，跑到未來，因為我哋以為喺當下呢一刻並未能感到幸福快樂。
Somehow we believe that happiness can only be possible in the future. You have to go there and look for some more conditions of happiness.
我哋相信幸福只喺未來，我哋要跑到未來去尋找一啲條件先至可以幸福。
And that belief has become a kind of strong habit, and that prevent us to be at ease, to be free in the here and the now.
呢一個習慣，讓我哋唔能夠自在同埋輕鬆咁樣活在當下。
And that is why mindful breathing or mindful walking help us to recognize that habit energy and stop the running. That habit energy might have been transmitted to us by our parents or by many generations of our ancestors.
因此，正念呼吸同埋正念步行能夠幫助我哋停落嚟，唔再喺呢一個習慣上邊繼續奔跑。呢一個習慣可能係由我哋嘅父母或者祖先傳俾我哋嘅。
With the insight that life is available only in the here and the now, that all miracles of life are already available, we can really stop with one in-breath and or one step that we make.
我哋了解到生命就在此時此地，因此我哋可以專注於我哋嘅每一個呼吸同埋每一個步伐。
And if our mindfulness and concentration are powerful enough, one in-breath or one step we make are enough to set us free, free from the past, free from the future, and free from that tendency, that habit energy to always run.
如果我哋嘅正念同埋專注夠強嘅話，只需要一個呼吸或者一個步伐，就可以將我哋從過往同埋未來之中釋放，亦都唔再會需要奔跑。
The practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking, allow us to get in touch with the wonders of life that belong to the pure land of the Buddha, to the kingdom of God.
正念呼吸同埋正念步行，幫助我哋接觸到喺天國同埋淨土入邊美妙嘅事物。
According to the deeper teaching of the Buddha, of Jesus, the kingdom of God, the pure land of Buddha is available in the here and the now.
根據佛陀同埋耶穌嘅教導，天國同埋淨土就在此時此地。
Buddhist teachers in the past have told us several times that Amitabha Buddha is our own true nature, and the pure land of Amitabha is in our heart.
過去有好多佛法老師已經教導過我哋，阿彌陀佛其實係我哋嘅本性，淨土就喺我哋嘅心入邊。
And that is why going home to the here and the now with mindfulness and concentration, we can get in touch with the pure land of the Buddha or the kingdom of God.
因此，通過正念同埋專注，我哋能夠回到我哋自己嘅家園，接觸到呢一啲美妙。
We don't need to die in order to go there in the kingdom of God or the pure land of the Buddha. In fact, we have to be very alive in order to step into the kingdom or to step into the pure land.
我哋唔需要死後先至能夠到達天國或者淨土，相反，我哋要真真正正活着，先至可以踏進天國或者淨土。
In Theravada Buddhism, we don't talk about the pure land, but we talk about the unborn.
喺大乘佛教入邊，我哋唔講淨土，我哋講無生不生。
With mindfulness and concentration, with every step, with every breath, we can touch already unborn, because the unborn is available already in the here and the now.
喺我哋嘅修習入邊，一個呼吸或者一個步伐已經能夠幫助我哋接觸到不生。
The Pure Land of the Buddha or the Kingdom of God is now or never.
天國同埋淨土就在此時。
And if you have the energy of mindfulness and concentration, you can get in touch with the kingdom or with the Pure Land in the very present moment.
如果你有正念同埋專注嘅話，你就能夠接觸到當下呢一刻嘅淨土。
In a practice center, the main thing that practitioners do is to generate the energy of mindfulness and concentration at every moment, whether when they walk, or they sit, or they cook, or they sweep the floor.
喺修習中心入邊，我哋每一刻都能夠培養到正念，無論係我哋掃地、煮食、行路、呼吸、步行。
Because mindfulness and concentration is a source of happiness and joy.
正念同埋專注係幸福快樂嘅來源。
In the sutras, many times the Buddha speak about mindfulness and concentration as the ground from which happiness can be born.
喺經典入邊，佛陀多次講到正念係幸福快樂嘅基礎。
I would like to offer you some easy practice based on the practice of mindfulness.
我想為大家介紹一啲非常之簡單關於正念嘅練習。
When you love someone, what the most precious thing you can offer to him or to her is your true presence.
當你愛一個人，最珍貴嘅禮物，你可以送俾佢嘅係你嘅存在。
If you really love someone, you have to be there for him or for her.
如果你真係愛一個人嘅話，你要為佢真正地存在。
How can you love if you are not there?
如果你根本唔存在嘅話，你點樣去愛？
But to be there for him or for her is a practice.
但要為佢存在，呢一個係一個修習。
You have to bring your mind home to your body in order to be fully present in the here and the now.
你要將心帶回身體，然後先至可以真真正正存在於當下呢一刻。
And that can be done with the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking. You need only 5 seconds in order to bring your mind home to your body and be fully present in the here and the now.
只需要5秒鐘、10秒鐘，收集正念呼吸或者正念步行，我哋已經可以將心帶回身體，真真正正地存在。
And when you are already in the here and the now, you know that what your beloved one needs is your true presence. So you go to him or to her and you look in his eyes or her eyes and you pronounce a mantra, darling, I'm here for you.
如果你真正安住於當下嘅話，你會知道你所愛嘅人所需要嘅係你嘅存在，因此你走到佢身邊，同佢講第一句真言：親愛的，我為你在此。
And with the practice of mindfulness, of breathing or walking, you can improve the quality of your presence. Also, you become more fresh, more solid, more peaceful.
通過正念呼吸同埋正念步行嘅修習，你會能夠令自己變得更加清新、安穩同埋平安。
You cannot say that you love him, you love her, unless you can offer him or her your true presence. If you are always absent, you are not truly a lover.
只有當你真正存在嘅時候，你先至可以話你真係愛佢。如果你成日都唔喺度嘅話，你點樣可以愛佢？
Many rich people can bring home a lot of money to their wife, to their husband, to their children, but they are not happy because what they need is your presence.
有一啲人佢哋好有錢，佢哋可以將好多錢帶俾佢嘅妻子或者仔女，但係佢哋唔開心，因為佢嘅妻子或者仔女最需要嘅其實就係佢嘅存在。
You are caught in your projects, you are caught in your worries. You do not have time for yourself. How could you have the time for your beloved ones.
你被困於你嘅工作同埋繁忙之中，你冇時間去照顧自己，咁又如何會有時間去照顧你所愛嘅人？
So the practice of mindful breathing, of mindful walking can bring your mind back to your body so that you can be there to take care of yourself and to take care of the person or persons you love.
因此，通過正念呼吸同埋正念步行嘅修習，你能夠將心帶回身體，你可以有能力照顧自己同埋照顧你愛嘅人。
A mantra is a sentence that you produce when your mind are one with your body. And without that kind of true presence, concentration, it cannot be a real mantra.
一句真言只可以喺你身心一體嘅時候講出。如果你嘅身同心唔係一齊嘅話，你所講嘅真言並唔係一句真言。
You breathe in and out for a few times. You make a few steps. You make sure that you are truly there, and you go to him or to her, and you pronounce the mantra. The mantra will be a true mantra because it is made, it is pronounced in mindfulness and concentration.
你呼吸3次，或者正念咁樣步行，如此，你向你嘅人講出呢一句真言，呢一句係真嘅真言，因為你有正念同埋專注。
And that mantra, you don't have to practice it in Sanskrit, you can practice in Cantonese or Mandarin.
你唔需要用梵文講出呢一句真言，你可以用廣東話或者普通話。
And if your beloved one is not there, you can also practice. You send him, you send her an email.
儘管你所愛嘅人唔喺你身邊，你同樣可以收集，你可以發一封電郵俾佢。
And you can very well use the mobile telephone to practice the mantra.
你亦都可以用你嘅手提電話去做呢一個收集。
I assure you that the effect of the practice is immediate.
我肯定會即時得到效果，
That bring happiness to you and to him or to her right away.
可以喺即時呢一刻就為你自己帶嚟快樂，亦都為佢帶嚟快樂。
The second mantra I would like to offer you tonight is, Darling, I know you are there, and I am very happy.
第二句真言係：親愛的，我知道你喺度，我非常之幸福。
This is also a practice of mindfulness and concentration.
呢一個亦都係正念同埋專注嘅練習。
When you are fully present, you are in a situation to recognize the presence of someone else that is your beloved one.
當你真正存在嘅時候，你先至可以覺察到你所愛嘅人嘅存在。
If you are not truly present, you cannot practice the first mantra, you cannot practice the second mantra either.
如果你並唔係真正存在嘅話，你並唔可以收集到第一句或者第二句真言。
So breathe in mindfully for half a minute, make a few steps in mindfulness to be truly there, and you go to her, to him, looking in his eyes and pronounce the mantra, Darling, I know you are there alive. That makes me so happy.
你收集正念呼吸半分鐘，或者正念步行一陣，然後走到佢身邊，望住佢雙眼，同佢講：親愛的，我知道你喺度，我非常之幸福快樂。
To me, to love someone means to recognize his or her presence of something very precious to you.
愛一個人嘅意思，即係知道佢嘅存在對於你嚟講係非常之珍貴。
When someone say that he loves you, but he's not there for you, you don't have the feeling that he loves you at all.
當一個人同你講佢好鍾意你，但係佢根本就唔喺你身邊，冇真真正正為你而存在，咁樣你並唔會覺得佢係真正愛你。
To be loved means to be recognized as existing.
被愛嘅意思係真正被覺察到你嘅存在。
You might be driving your car and you might think of everything except the person sitting next to you.
當你揸車嘅時候，可能你會諗好多嘢，但係你唔會諗到坐喺你身邊嘅人。
You don't have mindfulness in order to embrace, recognize her or his presence.
你冇正念嘅能量去擁抱或者覺察佢嘅存在。
Next time when you drive and if your beloved one is sitting next to you, you might like to try this mantra. Darling, I know you are there, sitting next to me, and this makes me very happy.
下次當你揸車嘅時候，你可以咁樣去練習。你可以同你身邊嘅人講：親愛的，我知道你坐喺我隔離，我好幸福快樂。
That is to use the energy of mindfulness and concentration to embrace that person you love, not with your arm, but with the energy of concentration and mindfulness.
呢一個練習係用我哋嘅正念同埋專注去擁抱我哋所愛嘅人，而唔係用我哋嘅雙手。
Again, this mantra can be practiced even if the other person is in his or her office. You can use your telephone or you can use your computer sending an email.
同樣地，儘管你所愛嘅人並唔喺你身邊，你亦都可以做到呢一個練習。你可以用你嘅手提電話或者用電腦發一封電郵。
And practicing the second mantra, you can make happiness, your happiness, and his or her happiness possible right in the here and the now also.
我哋收集呢第二句真言，可以喺當下呢一刻就為自己同埋你所愛嘅人帶嚟幸福。
The third mantra, you will practice when you notice that the person you love suffers.
第三句真言係喺你發覺到你所愛嘅人感到痛苦嘅時候收集。
Because you are mindful, you know that something is not going well with him or with her.
因為你有正念，因此你察覺到佢好似有一啲唔妥當。
So you practice mindful walking or mindful breathing in order to be really there. You go to that person and you pronounce the third mantra. Darling, I know you suffer. That is why I am here for you.
因此，你有正念同埋專注，你走到佢身邊，同佢講：親愛的，我知道你在受苦，我喺呢度。
If you suffer and if your beloved one ignore your suffering, you suffer more.
如果你痛苦嘅時候，你所愛嘅人並冇去注意到你嘅痛苦，你嘅痛苦會增加。
But when your beloved one is there, truly present, and telling you that she's there for you, you suffer much less right away.
但係如果佢真真正正為你存在，佢話俾你聽，佢知道你覺得痛苦，咁樣你嘅痛苦就會大大減少。
Before you do something to help him or her to suffer less, the other person suffer less right away because she knows that you are there for him or for her.
儘管你仲未做任何嘢，你嘅存在就已經足夠令佢嘅痛苦大大減少。
My dear friends, you know that this practice is easy enough for everyone to practice, and we can have the effect right away.
親愛嘅朋友，我知道呢一個練習係非常之簡單，係每一個人都能夠去收集，亦都能夠即時得到成果。
Speaking of the quality of your presence, I want to share with you some practice we offer to young practitioners.
講到關於呢個收集，我想為大家講解一啲我哋教導年青人嘅收集。
We know that our true presence is the most precious gift we can make to our beloved one, but we can always make that presence more refreshing, more pleasant for him or for her.
我哋知道我哋嘅存在係送俾我哋最愛嘅人最珍貴嘅禮物，我哋可以令我哋嘅存在變得更加清新。
Children who come to Plum Village in France to practice during the summer opening, they come from some 50 countries, and they always receive the practice, the teaching on the practice of Pebble meditation.
喺夏天嘅時候，會有超過50個國家嘅人嚟到梅村參加我哋嘅禪修營，當中包括好多細路仔。我哋每一年都會為細路仔講解呢一個小石嘅坐禪。
In order to practice Pebble meditation, children have to go and look for 4 pebbles, and they will clean them and put them in a small bag.
我哋要去揾4塊石春，4塊小小嘅石頭，然之後放喺一個袋入邊。
And they can organize a session of Pebble meditation among themselves.
我哋可以同周圍嘅人一齊去做呢一個石春嘅練習。
But adults also like the practice of Pebble meditation.
成年人佢哋都好中意呢一個修習。
After having breathe in and out with 3 sounds of the bell, you pick up 1 pebble by your right hand, and you look at it for 1 or 2 seconds.
當你聽到3下鐘聲，呼吸之後，你用你嘅右手攞起第一塊石。
The first pebble has a name. It represents a flower.
第一塊石佢代表咗花朵。
And when you use that second to call it by its name, this is a flower, and you put it on your left hand and then on your right hand.
你用1-2秒鐘望住佢，你稱呼佢真實嘅名字花朵，然之後將佢放喺你嘅左手，然之後將你嘅左手放喺右手之上。
Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh.
吸氣，我知道我係一朵花；呼氣，我感到清新。
And you breathe in and out 3 times.
我哋呼吸3次。
During the time you breathe in, that might last 4 or 5 seconds, you see yourself as a flower.
我哋嘅呼吸可能係3-4秒鐘，我哋見到自己係一朵花。
You don't have to imagine, because the human body can be a beautiful flower, and every one of us is a flower in the garden of humanity.
我哋唔需要去想像，因為其實我哋每一個人都係一朵花，我哋係人民花園之中嘅花。
When you look at the face of a child, you see that his face, her face is a real flower.
當我哋望住一個細路仔嘅時候，我哋見到佢嘅面就好似一朵花咁樣。
In fact, in Chinese literature, you call the face of a person a flower face.
喺中國嘅傳統入邊，我哋有花面呢一個講法。
The eyes of a child is a real flower. His mouth is also a real flower.
細路仔嘅雙眼同埋佢哋嘅嘴都係真真正正嘅花朵。
The tiny hand of the little boy is a real flower, and the foot of the little girl is also beautiful like a flower.
一個小男孩嘅小小嘅手係一朵花， 一個小女孩嘅腳，亦都係好似花一樣咁靚。
A child really looks like a flower, whether she is awake or sleeping.
細路仔就好似一朵花咁樣，無論佢係醒嘅時候，或者係瞓緊覺嘅時候。
And we can say that the human being is born as a flower in the garden of humanity.
我哋可以話人係喺人民花園入邊成長嘅花朵。
But if we don't know how to maintain, to preserve our flowerness, our freshness, it become a little bit less beautiful.
但係如果我哋唔識得去保存我哋花嘅本性嘅時候，呢朵花就可能冇咁靚。
We allow anger, fear, despair to destroy us, and we are not as beautiful as we have been before.
我哋讓恐懼、憤怒破壞我哋，我哋唔再好似以前咁靚。
We have cried a little bit too much, so our eyes is not as limpid as before.
因為我哋喊得太多，因此我哋嘅雙眼亦都冇以前咁靚咁清澈。
So this practice of flower fresh is to help us restore our flowerness, our freshness.
因此呢一個好似花一樣咁清新嘅練習，係幫助我哋尋找去揾返我哋嘅清新。
Sitting relaxingly like this and breathing relaxingly like this with a smile on your face has the power to bring back the flowerness to your body.
我哋好放鬆咁坐喺度，呼吸，我哋能夠將清新再一次帶返去自己嘅身體。
1 minute of practicing relaxing the body and smiling can help restore a lot of your flowerness.
1分鐘嘅放鬆，1分鐘嘅微笑，就能夠讓我哋重拾我哋花一樣嘅清新。
And with more freshness, your presence is more pleasant because you want to offer that presence to your beloved one.
當我哋更加清新嘅時候，我哋嘅存在就更加真實。我哋可以將我哋清新嘅存在送俾我哋愛嘅人。
So during the time you breathe in and out, 3 times you practice total relaxation, smiling, and you nourish the flowerness in yourself.
當我哋通過正念呼吸3次，完全放鬆嘅時候，我哋能夠滋養我哋心中花嘅清新。
Then you pick up the second pebble, and the name of that second pebble is mountain.
我哋拎起第2塊小石，我哋叫佢做山。
Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid.
吸氣，我見到我自己係一座山；呼氣，我感到安穩。
Solidity is what we cultivate during this meditation.
喺呢個禪修入邊，我哋能夠培養到安穩。
A person who does not have enough stability, solidity, cannot be a happy person.
如果冇安穩嘅話，一個人唔可能幸福快樂。
When someone is too unstable, without any solidity, we cannot count on him or her.
當一個人非常不安，一啲都唔安穩嘅時候，我哋唔可以依賴佢。
But sitting in this position, you feel much more solid, and with mindful breathing, you can get control of your body and your mind, and you consolidate your solidity, your stability.
我哋好安穩咁樣坐喺度，我哋做呢一個練習，可以更加培養到我哋嘅安穩同埋穩定。
With more solidity and stability, your presence will be much more appreciated as a gift to your beloved one.
當你好安穩同埋穩定嘅時候，你嘅存在就可以成為一份更加好嘅禮物送俾你所愛嘅人。
And the third pebble represents still water.
第三塊小石代表咗靜水。
Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect things truly as they are.
吸氣，我見到我係靜止嘅水；呼氣，我如實地反映當下。
Still water represents peace, tranquility.
靜水代表咗和平同埋清靜。
This is to help cultivate peace and calmness and tranquility in us to improve the quality of our presence.
可以幫助到我哋培養自己嘅平安清靜，可以改善我哋存在嘅品質。
When a lake is so still, the water is so still, the lake can reflect truly the sky, the cloud, the trees, the mountains, and we can really aim the camera and take a good picture.
當湖水非常之平靜嘅時候，湖水可以真正地反映咗天空、樹、山等等。我哋只要將相機對住呢一個湖，就可以影到天空嘅相。
When we know how to restore peace and tranquility into our body, we suffer much less.
當我哋可以重拾心中嘅平靜同埋寧靜嘅時候，我哋嘅痛苦會大大減少。
The Buddha in the Sutra on Mindful Breathing offer many exercises in order to bring peace, calm, relaxation to our body, to our feelings, and to our perceptions.
佛陀喺安波手義經入邊教導咗我哋一啲練習，幫助我哋將平安寧靜帶返我哋嘅身體、感受同埋認知。
The practice of mindful sitting, the practice of mindful breathing can help calm down our body and our feelings, our emotions also.
正念呼吸同埋正念禪坐可以幫助我哋平靜我哋嘅感受。
And when we are calmer, we are more peaceful, we can reflect reality much better. We don't distort things anymore. We do not have wrong perceptions about things anymore.
當我哋平靜寧靜嘅時候，我哋能夠如實咁樣反映實相，我哋再唔會歪曲實相，亦都再唔會有錯誤嘅認知。
Most of our sufferings come from our wrong perceptions.
我哋有好多錯誤嘅認知係嚟自我哋有好多嘅痛苦係嚟自我哋錯誤嘅認知。
When we are jealous, when we are angry, when you are fearful, we lose our calm, and that is why what we perceive does no longer represent the truth, but a distorted image of the truth.
當我哋感到憤怒、恐懼嘅時候，我哋就冇足夠嘅平靜，我哋嘅認知唔再係真嘅認知。
And where we have wrong views, wrong perceptions, we suffer and make the people around us suffer also.
當我哋有錯誤嘅認知或者錯誤嘅見解，我哋會受苦，亦都會令身邊嘅人受苦。
We know a person who doubt, who thought that his son is not his own son, but the son of his neighbor.
有一個人，佢以為自己嘅孩子唔係佢親生嘅孩子，而係佢一個鄰居嘅孩子。
During his absence, his son was born, and when he come home, he doubted that it is not that the baby is his son.
當佢嘅仔出世嘅時候，佢並唔在場，因此當佢返到屋企嘅時候，佢懷疑呢個係咪佢親生仔。
He got that impression at one moment, and he entertained that wrong perception during 10 years.
佢有呢個錯誤嘅想法，佢呢一個錯誤嘅想法維持咗10年。
After that, his blood brother came and visit and said, "That boy, he's a replica of yours. He looked exactly like you, my brother."
10年之後，呢個人嘅親生哥哥嚟到佢屋企，見到佢嘅仔話：你嘅仔就好似你嘅翻版一樣，佢睇上去同你一模一樣。
And only by that moment that the wrong perception was removed. But 10 years have passed. He has suffered during 10 years, and he has made his wife suffer and his son suffer also during 10 years.
只有喺嗰刻，佢先至放下佢錯誤嘅見解，但係佢已經感到痛苦10年，亦都令佢嘅妻子痛苦咗10年。
One wrong perception can cause a lot of suffering.
一個錯誤嘅認知能夠帶嚟許多痛苦。
If we know how to practice to restore our calm, our tranquility, our stillness, and avoid wrong perceptions, we can avoid making mistakes that cause suffering to us and to our beloved ones.
如果我哋能夠通過修習去重拾我哋嘅平靜平安嘅時候，我哋就可以避免到錯誤嘅認知，避免到我哋同埋身邊嘅人受苦。
The fourth pebble represents space.
第4塊小石代表空間。
Breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free.
吸氣，我見到我係空間；呼氣，我自由自在。
Space here means freedom.
喺呢一度，空間嘅意思係自在。
True happiness is not possible without some freedom in your heart and around you.
如果你嘅心中唔覺得自在，喺你周圍亦都唔感到自在，你唔會覺得幸福。
That those of us who are filled with worries and fear and anger, we don't have any space in our heart.
喺我哋之中有一啲人充滿咗憤怒同埋擔憂，喺佢心中冇任何空間。
We are full of ideas of our own. We are not capable of listening to other people and understand them.
當我哋嘅心充滿咗自己嘅諗法嘅時候，我哋冇空間去聆聽別人。
We always want to impose our way and our ideas on the other person.
我哋好想將自己嘅諗法同埋做法加喺別人身上。
In true love, we have to offer the other person some space, some freedom.
喺真愛入邊，我哋要為我哋所愛嘅人送上空間。
And if we do not have space in our heart, we have nothing to offer him or her.
如果我哋自己心入邊冇任何空間嘅話，我哋唔可以為我哋愛嘅人送上空間。
And that is why this practice is to help bring back some freedom, some space in us, so that we can become light, more tolerant, more loving, and that will improve the quality of our presence as a gift to him or to her.
因此呢一個練習幫助我哋重拾心中嘅空間，令我哋可以將呢一份珍貴嘅禮物送俾我哋愛嘅人。
Dear friends, if you truly love her, love him, offer him, offer her some freedom. We should let him or her to be himself, herself.
親愛嘅朋友，如果你真正愛佢嘅話，你要俾一啲空間佢，讓佢做真正嘅自己。
The Buddha is a very happy person because he has a lot of freedom.
佛陀係一個非常之幸福快樂嘅人，因為佢非常之自在。
He is free from views. He is free from anger, from jealousy. His freedom is the ground of his happiness.
佢非常之自在，佢冇被憤怒、擔憂等等所困。佢嘅自在係佢快樂嘅基礎。
And the practice of Pebble meditation helps us to cultivate more freshness, more solidity and stability, more peace, and more freedom.
呢個石春嘅禪修幫助我哋去培養清新、安穩、自在同埋空間。
We become a happier person, and our presence will be a source of happiness to him, to her, and to the world.
當我哋感到幸福快樂嘅時候，我哋嘅幸福同埋快樂就會成為你愛嘅人同埋呢一個世界快樂嘅來源。
Dear friends, in the teaching of the Buddha, suffering and happiness interact. There is a very strong connection between the two.
親愛嘅朋友，喺佛陀嘅教導入邊，幸福同埋痛苦，佢哋係相互依存，有好深刻嘅聯繫。
The teaching of the Buddha is not only about suffering, it is also about happiness.
佛陀嘅教導唔單單只係關於痛苦，亦都係關於幸福。
The first noble truth is about dukkha, suffering, ill-being.
第一聖諦係關於苦。
And the second noble truth is about how dukkha, how ill-being is made.
第二聖諦係關於苦嘅來源。
But when we go to the third noble truth, we know that the third noble truth is not about suffering anymore, it is about happiness.
當我哋去到第三聖諦嘅時候，我哋知道第三聖諦並唔係關於痛苦，而係關於幸福。
The third noble truth, cessation of suffering, means beginning of happiness.
第三聖諦滅苦嘅意思，即係幸福嘅生起。
The absence of suffering means nothing else than the presence of happiness.
苦唔再存在，即是幸福嘅存在。
When darkness is not there, something else is there. That something is light.
當黑暗唔再存在，咁會有另外一樣嘢存在，呢一個就係光。
So when suffering is not there, something else is there, and that something must be happiness.
因此，當苦唔再存在嘅時候，就會有另外一樣嘢存在，呢一樣嘢一定就係幸福。
That is why we can say with confirmation, certitude, that the teaching of the Buddha is also on happiness.
因此，我哋可以確定佛陀嘅教導亦都係關於幸福嘅。
And the fourth noble truth is how happiness could be made, could be generated.
第四聖諦係關於點樣先至可以培養到幸福快樂。
And the Buddha provides us with many kinds of practices that can help ending suffering and generate joy and happiness.
佛陀教導我哋好多練習，讓我哋能夠滅苦，同埋讓幸福生起。
And the practice recommended by the Buddha can be pleasant, joyful, pleasant to practice.
我哋可以好喜悅、好開心咁樣去收集佛陀嘅教導。
A true practitioners know how to generate with the energy of mindfulness and concentration a moment of joy, a moment of happiness.
一個真正嘅修習者，佢懂得用佢嘅正念同埋專注去培養喜樂。
At any time, at any place, a true practitioner can practice so that a moment of joy, a moment of happiness become possible, even if some suffering is still there.
無論喺任何時間、任何地方，一個修習者亦都可以去練習，培養到幸福同埋快樂，儘管佢心中仍然有少許痛苦。
And because suffering and happiness are connected with each other in a very intimate way, practicing mindfulness is also done in the form of how to handle a painful feeling, a painful emotion.
因為痛苦同埋幸福，佢哋緊密聯繫，因此正念嘅修習其實亦都係包括要去覺察同埋擁抱痛苦。
In the Sutra of Mindful Breathing, the Buddha proposed many exercises to help us generate joy and happiness, and to take care to handle the suffering and the pain in us.
喺安波手義經入邊，佛陀教導我哋一啲練習，去培養幸福同埋喜悅，亦都去處理我哋嘅痛苦。
If you know how to handle the suffering in you, you are capable also of creating joy and happiness.
當你能夠處理你心中嘅痛苦嘅時候，即係話你能夠培養幸福快樂。
In the teaching of the Buddha, you don't have to remove all suffering in order to begin to be happy.
喺佛陀嘅教導，我哋唔需要等到止息一切痛苦之後，先至可以感到快樂。
It is possible to find happiness right in the midst of suffering.
喺痛苦之中，我哋能夠找到幸福。
Suffering is like the mud that nourishes the lotus flower. And if there is no mud, there is no lotus.
痛苦就好似泥一樣，可以種植蓮花。如果冇污泥，唔會有蓮花。
Many of us believe that looking for happiness, you have to run away from suffering.
我哋好多人相信，如果我哋要感到幸福，我哋就要逃避痛苦。
But according to the Buddha, if you try to run away from suffering, you will never find happiness.
但係根據佛陀嘅教導，如果我哋逃避痛苦，我哋永遠唔可以找到快樂。
You have to hold suffering close to you and have a deep look into the nature of suffering.
我哋要將痛苦緊緊咁抱住，深入咁樣去觀察佢嘅來源。
Listening to your own suffering, understanding your suffering will bring about compassion that reduce suffering, transform suffering.
聆聽你嘅痛苦，同埋了解你嘅痛苦，能夠讓慈悲生起。
And when you feel light, you feel free. You can help the other person to do the same. You can listen and understand his or her suffering and help him or her to transform and to get a relief.
當你感到輕鬆自在嘅時候，你會能夠幫助別人，你會能夠聆聽、了解別人嘅痛苦，幫助佢釋放佢嘅痛苦。
It is by the way to handle the suffering that we can create happiness.
我哋懂得處理痛苦，如此我哋能夠培養幸福。
Without suffering, happiness is not possible. It's like without the mud, you can never make lotus flowers.
冇痛苦嘅話，唔可能有幸福。就好似如果冇污泥，就唔可能有蓮花。
Looking into the lotus flower, you see a non-lotus element that is very important, that is the mud.
當我哋望住一朵蓮花嘅時候，我哋會見到非蓮花嘅元素，非常之重要嘅元素就係污泥。
And if you are a good gardener, looking into the mud, you can already see lotus flowers.
如果你係一個好好嘅園藝家，當你睇住泥土嘅時候，你已經能夠見到蓮花。
So according to the practice of the Four Noble Truths, to create happiness and to handle suffering, these two practices go together.
因此喺四聖諦嘅修習入邊，處理痛苦同埋培養幸福係一齊嘅。
Dear friends, I can go on for the whole night, but I am told that I should stop at 9:20.
各位朋友，我好想繼續同大家分享，但係我知道我應該喺9:20停止。
It has been a great joy to be in Hong Kong, to be practicing with you and share the practice.
我可以嚟到香港同大家一齊分享，我感到非常之喜悅。
I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
希望好快可以見到大家，多謝。
Thai, we know you're there, so we are very happy. 禪師，我哋知道你嘅存在，所以我哋內心充滿喜悅同埋快樂。我哋再一次俾啲掌聲俾一行禪師。今晚嘅講座之後呢，我哋一行禪師香港嘅喜悅之旅呢就會係圓滿嘅結束。咁喺呢度呢，我想邀請周少平教授代表香港大學同埋其他嘅主辦單位頒發一份紀念品俾禪師嘅。I would like to call upon Professor S.P. Chow to represent University of Hong Kong and other organizers to present a souvenir to Thich as a tribute to his presence in Hong Kong. 多謝李禪師。咁呢一幅咧係香港嘅景象，係有一山人影嘅。咁我哋希望禪師永遠記住喺香港，我哋有好多人希望佢再重臨香港。Today we wish you to come back, and thank you, Professor S.P. Chow. As this is the last event of the whole visit, and Thai would like to thank the three organizers. So I would like Thai to stay on the stage and present a souvenir to University of Hong Kong. May I call upon the director of Center of Buddhist Studies, Venerable Jin Yin, to receive the souvenir from Thai. 我哋有請正一法師，香港大學佛學研究中心總監喺禪師嘅手上面接受呢個係一幅物寶嚟嘅。多謝香港大學佛學研究中心主辦呢一次嘅活動。Old path, white cloud, 孤島白雲。And other organizer will be the Plum Village Foundation Hong Kong. And the foundation said they have plenty of Thais calligraphy, so they said fine, okay. 咁咧其實咧回村香港亦都係今次嘅呢個主辦者，咁佢哋話咧，佢哋已經有好多佢哋嘅內心已經充滿住禪師嘅物寶啦。咁另外咧，我哋要多謝嘅咧就係中華佛教文化院，有請中華佛教文化院總幹事普惠艷小姐上台接受。And I would like to invite Ms. Pu Hui Yim, General Secretary of Chinese Buddhism Culture Center, to receive a souvenir from Thich. 唔該晒。今次嘅公開講座呢，我哋要特別多謝李嘉誠基金會呢係慷慨贊助，令到我哋呢係有個咁好嘅場地。我哋係邀請莊學山先生代表李嘉誠基金上嚟接受呢個榮譽。多謝晒。 I would like to call upon Mr. Zhong Huasan to represent Li Ka-shing Foundation to receive the souvenir. And thank you very much for the foundation's support to make this talk possible. 唔該晒，莊生。一人禪師亦都舉辦咗一個1400人，近期喺香港嚟講係最大型嘅禪修。我哋亦都多謝東蓮國院嘅慷慨贊助。我哋有請法護法師代表東蓮國院。I would like to call upon Venerable Dhammapala to represent Dongling God Yuan to receive a souvenir as their great support to our retreat. Thank you. And the last but not least, Thai asked me to say to hold such a big event like this, our 1,400 people's retreat, 8,000 public talk, and all the publicity work. We have a group of wholehearted volunteers who made this visit and all these activities possible. So Thai want to present a souvenir to all our volunteers。 其實咧，今次嘅所有嘅活動咧，我哋係得到一批非常之用心嘅義工係幫手成就。咁喺呢度咧，禪師想頒一份禮物俾所有嘅義工。我哋請我哋嘅副總幹事林美梅小姐上台接受。I would like to invite our Deputy Chief Secretary, Ms. Mei Lau, to represent all our volunteers to receive a souvenir from Thai. It's because our volunteers' wholehearted contributions, so we have smoothly accomplished our task. 多謝. Thank you, Thai, and we hope you will come and offer your true presence to Hong Kong people in the near future. Thank you. 我哋再次感謝禪師，亦都希望禪師好快會重臨香港。Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. 請各位起立。